NVIDIA's up. We are long NVIDIA, rooting on NVIDIA. Huma has come back down nicely, so we're up 1.3% for the month. Some of our longs are down too, which is to be expected. A lot of the drama in the stock market now revolves around Tesla, and it's really it's like holding up a mirror. You know, what do we want? I hate to get philosophical. Soros is very philosophical. What do we want from the market? And there's a tug of war between the people that want to believe you can have a generational entrepreneur that's kicking ass, it's going to do unbelievable things, and that's worth $1 trillion. And you're supposed to suspend disbelief about this, basically backward-looking things like financials. And people like Bezos proved financials are backward-looking. Elon Musk is at the forefront of AI, robotics, and other high technologies. How can you bet against him? He's gonna figure it out. He's gonna make lots of money from whatever it is he's working on. But the other side of the tug of war, on the other side of the rope, are people who are saying, great, but I'm not going to pay for that. You got to show me. There's a lot of great technologists. Ray Kurzweil. And the other side's going to say, well, Ray Kurzweil never made $1 trillion company. And the other side of the rope says it shouldn't be $1 trillion company. And the other side of the rope says, no, he look at all the revenue Tesla has. Tesla's got a lot of revenue, a lot of earnings. They've done really well. You've probably ridden in a Tesla. And the other side says, yeah, but, Ford and Toyota are just as good, and they're worth, so little. How can Tesla be worth so much? And the tug of war will continue. And what you are probably asking of yourself or of me or others is, well, who's going to win the tug of war? And I don't know that that's the right answer or the right question. I would ask the opposite question, which is, who do we want to win the tug of war? Who are you going to let win the tug of war? Because as a market, we decide. Right? If the earnings of a company have to be contemporaneous with the stock price, we'd have a very different stock market, right? It'd be highly arbitrageable. You could buy the stock of a company that just got FDA approval for a drug, has no earnings, but it's about earnings are about to explode. Say it's a cure for some disease, right? The earnings are going to come. It's basically preordained. So that's kind of like what Tesla is. There's this assumption that the earnings are going to come someday. But the tug of war, one of the sides wins when, earnings are not going up this year as fast as you might think. It's going to be maybe next year. And they say, aha! This is what I've been saying all along. The earnings are not going to go up. And this promise of next year, well, there is no next year. That's a lie too. They lied about this year and they're lying about next year. Earnings are never going up again. And the other side has faith and says, no. We believe in our guy. He's going to do just fine. And, you basically have a tug between faith and reason, which is like, maybe more meta than we wanted. But that's why it's hard to pick this, because you're dealing with this very meta concept of, you don't know which side is right. Right now, the side that's pulling on the earnings stuff, it certainly seems to be right. That Q1 was a doozy. Big decline in shipments and deliveries and production for Tesla. But, we've seen what Musk has done over the last 20 years. Pretty impressive. So I don't know that he's not going to figure it out. So which side? And a lot of the market is fixated with this exact question right now. And on days when the recession could be looming and equities are overvalued, Tesla slips. On days when there's reasons to be optimistic and we're excited about innovation, Tesla's rising, like today is up 4%. And one thing I'll tell you is that kind of as a value investor, is what I care about a little bit. This is more about a method for investing, not about whether I'd be long or short or whatever. This method for investing is, okay, let's say you have a stock, or this is a company, and this is what I'd call the margin of safety. This is not the price. This is different. This is the margin of safety. What is this, anyway? So this, to me, is kind of like the value, the permanent value of the company. What does that mean? In pharma, we actually don't get this, which is frustrating. And permanent value is kind of the moat. And this is the earnings that you can kind of rely on for a long time. For Coca-Cola, that's like basically the whole company. But I'll get to that in a second. So this is the stock price. And maybe we're here right now, I don't know. This isn't supposed to be representative of Tesla exactly, obviously. And so the question is, for the black part, you can kind of assume that you're going to be right. When you're in the black part, you have permanent value that you can sort of sit on and say, I can be long because it's worth this many times earnings, and it's very stable, and the price supports kind of the value supports the price. When Tesla's all the way up here, you're sort of saying, okay, well, the car business is worth this much, but the stock's worth a lot more. So either I'm making the wrong assumption about the car business, or there's something else coming, but this price doesn't really correspond to reality just yet, as far as I can see empirically. And then there's other stocks where what you see is what you get, and that these lines are superimposable in essence. The value of Coke is largely been built up over some decades, and it's sort of reached an asymptote. And the price of Coke, interestingly, I remember this, believe it or not, kind of overshot this. And Buffett famously said that one of his biggest mistakes was not selling in that period, because this is one of the core dilemmas of and sort of advanced value investing is, if you have a compounding machine, should you ever sell? And Buffett's publicly said no in the past. And I think that the reality is some others have said, and including Buffett, have said yes. There is a price that's too high for everything.